Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I am Richard French. Thanks for joining us this Friday evening, February 8th. Guess what we're going to talk about for the next hour? Yes, you guessed it. It's a blizzard, and it's bearing down on our region. And while in the beginning of the week, we thought, hey, you might get a few flakes here. The worst is going to be up north. Certainly New England's going to get bombed here, but our region not spared. We are seeing havoc on the roads, the rails, and all kinds of travel plans thrown into a hot mess here. We're going to have live team coverage tonight from around the region. Christie Duffy, she's in Malloy, New Jersey, with the latest snowfall totals. Carolyn Fortino, live in Bethpage, New York, for a power update. John Heyman, he's out in Port Jefferson, New York, with a look at how the coastline is holding up. And Samantha Liebman, she's in Penn Station with an update when it comes to rail travel. But let's begin, which will be probably the epicenter of this storm, which is up in New England, specifically Boston. Supposed to be, as I said, right in the eye of that storm. Marcy Gonzalez, she joins us now with more.
As the first flakes fell, the problems began. Reports of a 19-car pileup on a highway in Maine, proof already of the dangers this giant storm could pose throughout the Northeast.
Stay off the roads. Stay home. Let the public works crews do their job.
Boston's mayor sounding the warning as his city braces for snowfall that could surpass the record of 27.5 inches set in 2003. In Massachusetts and Connecticut, states of emergency declared, with blizzard warnings issued for 7 states from New Jersey to Maine.
We're going to get wind gusts between 40 to 50 miles per hour. We're going to get whiteouts. There can be thunder and lightning.
A powerful nor'easter also carrying the risk of coastal flooding in areas still recovering from Superstorm Sandy.
Hopefully it won't be anything drastic, and it's certainly not going to be a Hurricane Sandy. But that doesn't mean you can't get badly hurt or killed if you're not careful.
With that concern, many schools closed, roads and mass transit shut down in some areas, and thousands of flights are now grounded. So many people now stuck, bracing for the worst of this monster winter storm.
Just completely messed up with my entire day. I hate the snow. I thought I liked it until now.
And this is not only an inconvenient and powerful storm, it's also slow moving, with some of these conditions not expected to let up until tomorrow. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Boston.
All right, Marcy, thank you. I want to turn here to the man of the hour for us, 5-1 meteorologist Jeff Desnoyers, for more. And Jeff, I remember at the earlier part of the week when we were planning coverage for this, everybody knew New England was going to get it, but it looked like because there was 2 tracks of this storm that at least our region, the tri-state area, specifically the New Jersey and Long Island areas, the coastal areas, they might have been spared with only 1 to 3 inches, maybe at most 5 or 6 inches. What changed between the middle of the week and now?
Cold air. That's what you need. You need the track of the low to stay to the south of the region. You need to allow cold air to funnel into the system to get a big blockbuster snowstorm. Earlier in the week, it looked like the track was going to be kind of right through our area, which would allow warmer air to interject into the system, which would then turn us over to a little bit of rain that would reduce the amount of snowfall across the area. But with the way the track ended up playing out, it kept moving further and further south. And the more we kept watching it, you can see it on the radar here, you can see where that rain is setting up. But off to the north, you see the snow. The low's off to our south and east. If that low were to be a little further north, that allows that warmer air to interject into the system. As I mentioned, you get mostly rain. But now we're dealing with the cold air in place, and that's why we're seeing this change over to snow and some very heavy snow across the region happening now, and will continue into the overnight and for the first part on Saturday too. And when you have a low pressure that's blossoming out over the ocean like we're seeing, it's just going to continue to enhance those winds. You're talking about a domino effect. You get the heavier precipitation, it's colder, so therefore it's snow, then you get the wind, and then you're talking blizzard conditions across the area.
All right, for those who tried to brave it and went to work today, haven't been following the numbers, let's do the math for them. What kind of accumulations are we looking at, and given the time frame here, really for the tri-state area?
Well, you know, right now, along areas of Long Island, we haven't really seen much snow up until about an hour ago, and then things really got kind of crazy. We saw 2 inches per hour across much of the island from that 5 to 6 time frame, and that's where we saw some really quick accumulations across the area. So most areas now are in that 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inch kind of snowfall amount so far, but the worst is yet to come. We're going to continue to see 2 to 3 inches per hour, at least up until about the midnight hour, and then after that we'll see it taper off a little bit, but you're still going to be talking about accumulating snow right through the morning tomorrow.
Okay, and for our area, the coastlines, we're going to be talking about this too. there could be some surges, right? I mean, we're not talking anything we're approaching Sandy. I want to caution everybody about there's been a little bit of hyperbole around this thing. A foot's a lot of snow, but it's not like Snowmageddon, like some are calling this thing. Nonetheless, big winds, and that's what we should really be concerned about. Around the midnight time period, late tonight into early morning, the winds, that's what causes the power problems, the big surges, right?
Yeah, and you're coupling it with high tide too. And that's, it's almost like, you hear about when we talked about Hurricane Sandy, astronomical high tides. We don't have astronomical high tides, but we're still going to have high tides at the height of the storm tonight. You're going to have an incredible amount of coastal flooding in areas that have been so devastated by Sandy earlier, a couple months ago, that are just trying to get back on their feet. Now all of a sudden you're talking about another storm impacting areas that are vulnerable. And we're going to see that during the overnight into the first part tomorrow. And that will be another aspect of the storm besides the wind.
Moderate flooding, or could it be serious in certain places?
I think serious in some areas, especially I would say the North Shore, like Nassau County, where you have that northeasterly wind just funneling that water into that cove area there. I think that would be one area of really heightened concern as we head into the overnight.
Yep.
Coastal New Jersey, some moderate flooding, but we're really worried about that northern portions of Nassau County.
We're going to be talking to the utilities later this hour as well, but we're looking at with the high winds, people will lose power tonight. We've already seen some power outages. I know Andrew's got some numbers for us we'll get into, but if people should worry about it, again, it's in that late night hours into early morning. That's when the winds will be strongest?
Yeah, because you're going to have the snowfall intensity really increased until about midnight. The winds will continue to increase all night into tomorrow. So even though the snow will shut down a little bit as we head into the day on Saturday, the winds are going to stay very strong throughout the day. So you're going to be talking about winds gusting 40, 50 miles per hour, even into the afternoon on Saturday.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, let's get some live pictures out from the field. Let's go to Malloy, New Jersey first, and let's bring in Christie Duffy, who's been covering this all day. Christie, go right ahead.
Rich, yeah, we're standing here in Malloy, New Jersey. This is the northern tip of the state, right near New York, and I'm standing just off Route 17, a major highway here in the area. Let me give you a look at what the snowfall is like where we are. As we zoom in there, you can really see, as you guys were just talking about, the wind speed really picking up here, and the snow is coming down hard. And if we could pan out, Mike, as well, to show them the roadways as well. There's not that many cars out on the roads, which is really the best thing you could do, is just stay off them, because it's definitely getting pretty slippery and icy out here. And we've been talking to drivers just about all day, stopping off at the gas station here, and let's take a listen to what they had to say about these roads conditions. With snow-covered roadways, people stopping for gas say it's bad out here and only getting worse. One driver struggling to get home in the storm. His flight got canceled after being away on a work trip in Atlanta.
I came in, I only got as far as Philadelphia. I was flying in from Atlanta this morning. So I'm heading up to New York, and I rented a car one way to get home. So it wasn't bad until about Morristown. That's where the roads started getting real icy and frozen. So.
While a local Ramapo College student says she was just running out to grab a bite down the road, but even that is risky.
I made my friend drive because I don't want to drive my car. I'm scared. It's really scary out. It's my car because I like a Mustang, so it's like really slippery. It fishtails. So, yeah, no.
Yeah, and of course, Mustang's never good in the snow, but anything, without four-wheel drive is going to make it more than slippery for you out here on the roadways. Just stay off them, really. As well, there's already been a number of accidents that we've heard of caused in the area on account of the snowfall here, but everybody we talked to, luckily, is heading home. They plan on hunkering down and riding out this storm through the evening. Live in Malloy, Christie Duffy, FiOS 1 News. Rich.
All right, Christie, thank you very much. Checking back in a little bit. We will also be heading to Long Island shortly, getting the perspective there. And as you heard from Jeff, some of the coastal regions here are already bracing for what many thought was unimaginable a little over 3 months ago. But if there is a portion of our region here that is in the crosshairs of this, it is in the northern portion, especially as you move up New England. Think of the I-95 corridor. Let's go to Governor Malloy in Connecticut, who's talking about some of the areas like Hartford and points north that could be looking at 2+ feet of snow.
With the threat of the large accumulation that we might otherwise face. I think there's been a great level of cooperation and understanding, and I'm very grateful for that. This second call, we had well over 200 people on the first call this morning. We had well over 200 people on the second call this evening. That's a pretty extraordinary participation level, and I'm very grateful for it. It allows us to coordinate our activities. Anything else? Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Drive safely.
Yep. Thank you, Governor. Thank you.
And that was Governor Malloy. The one thing that we are hearing about, and I want to bring Andrew Whitman in, who's going to be helping me through this hour with the math, as he always does at 6 o'clock, is unlike Sandy, where they tried to bring in help, because we knew the storm was coming, but because of the scope of that storm and how it affected so much of not just the eastern seaboard, but even through the Midwest, so many of the trucks and the relief, they were stranded in the Midwest, or they never got as far north as where we are. This time around, there's a lot of extra trucks already. The salt has already gotten both delivered to where it needed to. You have many more in terms of, the trucks that can help out both in terms of, keeping the roadways safe, but then also in terms of trying to restore power when we do have outages. I'm not minimizing what lies ahead in the next 24 hours. However, it does seem they're better positioned at this point.
Well, if the challenge in Sandy was getting relief materials from the outside or getting the tools to help from the outside the area into the area, you're right. The materials are in the area right now and prepared for this storm, for this nor'easter, or whatever you want to call it. The real challenge now is going to be moving it around our region in the spots where it's needed most. So where you have the areas in Connecticut, let's say, where there could be up to 2 feet, how do you get those sorts of tools from New Jersey, where it won't be as bad?
As everybody knows, this is nothing. I mean, I'm not going to minimize it, but the scope of this compared to what we saw with Sandy, and I've heard a lot of people, I think even loosely making comparisons, don't. Okay, the huge thing was the volume of water in terms of what we saw here. This is snow. This is wind. There will be power outages. We'll get through what that could mean here, and there may be some coastal flooding, but this is, at the end of the day, as Andrew said, this is a nor'easter. We'll talk about what it means, though, after this. We take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you the update on those power outages, and also we'll take you live to Long Island. Stay with us.
I'm really glad it's on a weekend. I think we'll be all right, but you got to plan ahead. A couple feet of snow would shut everything down, and who knows, could be a couple days, right?